The thing to remember, though, is that, and don't take any offense to this, your brain's only so smart. Not just you guys, but really everyone. Because we can take this illusion and we turn it on its side. And now, we don't get any sense of three-dimensionality whatsoever. This is really cool. I want you to turn your heads from side to side and see what happens.
Oh, got it.
I'll go first. So, I always wish I had like a video camera this small. The head's going. So when we turn our head, okay. If we turn to the left, we get this representation over here, the square or dense. Yes. If we turn to the right, we have it over here, where the square are bumps. And so, in our world, light comes from above. That is correct. But your brain isn't quite that smart. It's sort of hard to figure out where above is. It's easy to figure out where the top of your head is. And so the rule here is not to assume that light comes from above. It assumes that light comes from the top of your head. And so if we turn our head this way, your brain sort of thinks, well, this must be up. Okay, those are dense. And if you turn your head this way, it thinks, well, this way is up. And this is another important point to realize, is that your brain's thinking for you, but it's not that smart. It's got to use all these tricks. And this leads to some interesting illusions. And now we're getting back into understanding how the marimba player is using this gesture to actually change what you're hearing. Because these illusions don't always happen just in vision, or say just in sound. There's some really interesting examples of how visual information can change what you're hearing. So there's something called the McGurk effect. Has anyone ever heard of this? This is good. My parents have, because they've heard them talk about it. I want you to, he's saying one thing over and over again. Ba, ba, da, da, or ga, ga. I'm going to play this and listen to that.
Ba, 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 ba.
So you hear this da, 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 over and over. I'm going to do it again.
Ba, 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 ba.
Okay, your lives will never be the same after this point. You're going to close your eyes now. I'm going to play the same thing.
Ba, 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 ba.
So what do you hear when your eyes are closed? Ba, ba. What do you hear when your eyes are open? Da, da. The visual information changes your perception of what you're hearing. It doesn't change the acoustic information. It changes your internal experience of that. So I'm going to play this one last time, and you can open and close your eyes as it goes, and it will flip back and forth. No way. Play.
Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba.
Is anyone disturbed by this? It's still weirds me out. The first time I saw this, I was in a music perception class, and I was really upset. Because I spent a lot of years practicing and studying music, and I'd like to think that I can trust my ears, and they can tell me what's out there. I mean, we spent a lot of time doing some listening. This shows you that you really can. This was found in the 70s, actually, in speech perception. It's a very well-known finding within speech that visual information can change what you're hearing. This is, I think, one of the great experiments of all time, but I might be a little biased. It's a fabulous example of how visual information can change what we're hearing. So what's going on here is that on a continuum of speech sounds, we have ba is up here and ga is down here. And da is right in the middle. And so what we do in this experiment is the sound of ba that you heard with your eyes closed, but it's paired with the lip movements of ga. And we got ba up here and ga is up here and da is right in the middle. So your brain is thinking for you. It hears this, it sees this, it figures, well, probably this one in the middle is the thing most likely to cause this information. So that's the perceptual experience we're going to have. And it's a useful illusion because it shows, it's not that you're unsure of what's happening. You're quite clear you're hearing da. You are sure you're hearing da. But that's because your brain is thinking for you and telling you to hear da, even though da is not really out there. This is very similar to what's happening in the musical illusion I found. The visual information is giving you one thing about duration, the sound is something else. your brain is thinking for you. It integrates the sight and sound. And so we have this perceptual experience of longer or shorter notes, even though the acoustic information is actually the same. And it gets even more amazing, because your brain is doing this integration of sight and sound all the time, and just like with the bumps and the dents, you probably didn't know it. Has anyone here ever been to a movie? Okay, so when you go to a movie theater, the actors are moving, all around on this screen, and they're talking, and it sounds like the speech is coming from their lips. But did you ever stop and think that the speakers aren't moving behind the screen? The speakers, you got one on either side, or maybe now with surround sound, there's like speakers all over. But they're in fixed locations. But yet it sounds like the speech is coming from the actor's lips. This is because your brain is thinking for you. It hears the speech, it sees the lip movements that go with it, and it thinks, well, probably they go together. Because our brains evolved in a world, like way before we had YouTube and all this other technology, to sort of manipulate the different sights and sounds around. And so we have the perceptual experience that the actors are talking to you, but actually the voice is coming from over here, and the image is over here. So one of the amazing things about perception is it's doing all this stuff for you all the time without even realizing it. This is what ventriloquists use when they're doing the ventriloquist effect. When you throw your voice, I used to think it meant you actually throwing your voice. In fact, I even saw in this magazine a booklet you could write for, and it would teach you how to throw your voice. And I thought that'd be cool, but Dad wouldn't let me get it. And it turns out it would have been a waste of money, because you don't throw your voice. But if you hide your lip movements, and the puppet makes lip movements at that time, it's not that your voice moves, it's that the perception of that in the mind of the listener gets shifted. So you guys familiar with Jeff? I had actually heard of him, and some of my students said, yeah, you should use this clip. And so we've got Jeff Thumb and his buddy, come on. And Jeff Thumb is a great example of this.
Why did you interrupt me? You mispronounced my name. You mispronounced my last name. I know. It's Dunham. Now, when you look at it, it says Dunham, Dunham. You're the other white meat.
So Jeff Thumb is not throwing his voice. He's just hiding his lip movements. And in fact, the speakers through which we're listening to it are way over there. But it sounded like he's talking, and then Peanut's talking, even though the sound's coming from way far away. And that's because your brain is thinking for you. It's always binding together the auditory and the visual information that go together. Because we actually process sight and sound in separate areas, essentially the brain, and then at some point they have to come together. Because it would be really bad if, like, when someone's talking to me, like, oh, okay, hear the voice, process the lip movements, they have no relationship to one another. That wouldn't work too well. And so your brain's always trying to find what goes with what. Which brings us back to a second research study that I did. So here I took sounds from all sorts of different instruments: piano, French horn, clarinet, voice, and the white noise, and I used them with the original gestures. So here's samples of the sounds. White noise, because psychologists always need something artificial in an experiment. And I paired these sounds with the original impact gestures. And this gives us some sort of weird things. Bizarre, but this is actually my all-time favorite video here with voice. No. I have literally hundreds of videos in my office, so if you want to stop by McMaster sometime, you can see them all. But I can tell you, that's the best one. And it's funny because your brain knows if you make a striking motion like this, it can't produce a sound like "la," unless, I don't know, if you like hit a singer or something. Sorry to the. So the experience of watching that is very different than the one with the piano sound, which actually looks pretty reasonable. We further the marimba one over there. And so this experiment was similar to the first one, except it used all these different sounds, so it was a bit longer. In addition to the sound of the marimba, you had the gestures paired with the piano, the French horn, the clarinet, the voice, and the white noise. The task was the same. I showed them to students one by one. This time it was not musicians, I used psychology students. I told them that the gestures didn't always go with the sound, as if that's not obvious enough. But importantly, I asked them again to ignore the visual information when making the duration ratings. And that's really a crucial step.